took an oath to the Hawaiian government to serve as part of the Council of Regency that represented the Hawaiian Kingdom in The Hague, I had to re-up for my passport. And the passport says, have you taken an oath to any foreign state? And if you lie on this application, that is a felony. Ooh, okay. So I had to make an affidavit that explains, number one, I am an American by parentage, and I identify who my great-grandfather is from Sparta, Tennessee. And I did take an oath in 1996 on this particular date to the Hawaiian Kingdom. And I did serve as agent for the Hawaiian Kingdom at the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. And got it notarized, sent it off. I'm thinking, ooh, I hope I get it back. Now I know, because if you take an oath to another country, you lose your American citizenship. But I'm being upfront, right? Because I did take the oath. Nobody can say I wasn't in The Hague. I got it back. Oh, hey, right on. Good till 2014, and then I re-upped again. I got one, now it's till 2024 or something. Which means, on the record, they know I'm an American by parentage, and I guess it didn't disqualify me to be an American, so thank you very much for the passport. Now, for all of you folks who have not taken an oath to a foreign state like I did, which I had to put on record, otherwise I'll be committing a felony, you might have an ancestor that came from America or wherever, right? But for the ones who think they're American, they might actually be American solely. I don't know if you have some family that may have come somewhere in America. If that's the case, then you can put down, I'm an American. Yeah, because by putting down one nationality does not preclude you from being another national. Yeah, yes, I do. Okay, so yeah, if you don't, then you're not American. Yeah, so that's another now that's a problem right there, which Leilani brought up. And I would just say, based upon necessity, just play the game. Because this is not about standing up to cause attention. This is called how to right the wrong. I think that's what we're talking about. I'm not here to have everybody hold signs and make a point. Okay, now the term allegiance, there's a difference between the oath of allegiance that government workers sign, right? As opposed to owing allegiance because you're in another country. Because the Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code, Chapter 6 says aliens residing in Hawaii, which includes Hawaiians, whether or not those resident aliens countries are at war or at peace with the Hawaiian Kingdom, still owe allegiance. That is a legal allegiance. That is not where you need people to sign, I take an oath of allegiance to Chapter 6 of the Hawaiian Penal Code. It's automatic. So if somebody who is an alien during the war with the United States, they could be committing treason in the Hawaiian Kingdom and be arrested and prosecuted. Because foreigners, resident aliens in the United States could also be committing treason under US law, even though they're not American. The reason is because they're in the United States. And that's the Tadit case, the International Criminal Tribunal. They said the more realistic issue is not the formal relations by citizenship, but rather the allegiance. And it's the allegiance is what qualifies if that person is a protected person, irrespective if that person is the same nationality as the occupier. Does that make sense? Okay, so the best thing to know, no matter what your nationality is, whether Hawaiian or not, everyone is a protected person under the Geneva Convention. That's all you gotta know. That's the main thing.
Except if you work for the federal government.
Unless you work for the federal government, because you took an oath to the federal government. See, that's the oath of allegiance that is on your record, as opposed to just an American citizen living in Kalapana. Yeah. Yes.
So that guy that got deported back to Mexico, the one that in Kona,
Yes.
if he said an oath to Hawaii, would he be protected?
Not an oath. He
Not
was
an
actually
oath.
protected under Hawaiian
He
Kingdom
was
law. He
already
was a protected
protected.
person.
So he could actually Come back.
That's a war crime that was committed against him.
So he could come back then, if he wanted.
Well, he was supposed to
Yeah.
have been. Well, he wouldn't
should
be
never been
considered.
deported.
Yeah,
he
he
would have.
shouldn't
He
have
should have
been.
never been deported
Yes,
to
that's what
begin
I'm-
with.
When did
Yeah.
he come back? Might be a different question.
Yeah, he might
Shouldn't
not
have
be
been
able
deported
to-
in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
So that right there is a good example.
Yeah.
He's a Mexican citizen who was deported, right?
Right.
Okay, that person is a protected person. And unless there was cause for his deportation under Hawaiian Kingdom law is one thing. But if his cause for deportation was American law,
It's American.
his rights as a protected person was violated.
He was.
Because they use
Yeah.
American law to deport him,
They
not
do.
Hawaiian law, which the Hague and Geneva Conventions require. That's what the UN letter, can you see how significant the UN letter is at that level? Yes.
Somebody should contact him.
It's so true, but does, growing up, everyone used to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Is that?
No, I know. That, okay, so now that, no. See, now that
Brain rot.
is actually another type of war crime. And that's called denationalization. So, attempts to denationalize the people of an occupied state is a war crime. And that war crime came out in 1919. And Germans were prosecuted for that under the Nuremberg trials. And that was called Germanization. So when all of us were swearing allegiance when we're kids, elementary, I pledge allegiance to the flag, it's like everybody knows it. That's evidence of a war crime. That's another war crime that has been committed
Was that
against you.
perpetrated by the armed forces of the state and county of Hawaii then?
Excuse me?
Was that war crime perpetrated by the
Armed
armed forces of the county and state of Hawaii?
So the thing about, okay, so people who are alleged war criminals, it's not a state or the country, because you can't put a state or a country on trial, right? That's an abstract idea, like Wailoa Park. How do you grab Wailoa Park?
So was a teacher in the classroom that made you
Yes.
say it?
So
Oh.
the question then would be the teacher in the classroom in doing it. But the element of the war crime to prosecute that teacher is awareness that Hawaii is occupied, because it's occupation that proscribes or makes denationalization illegal. Okay? Now I can tell you, Mrs. O'Hara at Haione Elementary, she had no clue Hawaii was occupied. Now, if she teaches today, and she knows that Hawaii is occupied, then she becomes like a Jennifer Ruggles. And she would have to stop doing that. That's the difference. Now that case actually came up in Italy, just that. So Italy was actually occupying during World War II a portion of Yugoslavia, because Yugoslavia is right across the Mediterranean, from Italy, right? It's the east side. They occupied a portion of Yugoslavia. I think it was Serbia, if I'm mistaken. I think it was Serbia. When they occupied it, they actually took over the schools over there, and they began to Italianize Yugoslavs. Yeah. It was reported during World War II that that's what took place. And who was reported was the teachers and some commissar in charge of education who was Italian. And the report that was done by the legal guys to determine who's committing war crimes during World War II said the teachers were not at fault, because they were just following orders and they didn't really understand what occupation was, but the higher up was. So there is a process for prosecuting criminals. What I'm always suggesting to everyone in Hawaii, don't even go there. just that's why Jennifer put her hands up saying, whoa, I gotta start asking the right questions now. When people tell me don't worry, right now I'm worrying plenty. And you're not satisfying my worry. You're not fixing it. So there's so many things here that are there that Amnesty International all know about, Human Rights Watch all know about, International Committee of the Red Cross know about. What we don't have is a swell of people to say, my rights have been violated.